Okay guys, just so you know, the reason I'm cutting this end off here is it's 10 foot long, but the end here is sort of split and stuff, and I don't really trust that. At 8 foot, I'm getting some nice wood, it looks like, out of here. The log kind of looks old. What happened was, this was a live pine tree last winter, okay? And they cut it down, the oil guys cut it down, or I should say the electric guys cut it down and left it lay. And I pulled it up and brought it here because when I was looking at it, it seemed pretty solid to me. Now, when I'm cutting it with the chainsaw, it still seems solid, so we'll see what the story here is with this. So that's 8'3", just so you know. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. I gotta start the sawmill too. Knot on this side. I'm trying to get a hold of it, but can't really get a hold of it. Alright, that should be alright there. I'm gonna go, I want to look at the turning of the log too. I haven't really turned it to look at it. I just threw it on the mill here. So let me look at this. What I'm looking for is to see if the log is hitting the bunk all the way down. And the way it's laying there, it is. I don't even know if I have fuel in this. Let me check the fuel. I gotta check the oil. I gotta put some gas in that. I'll be back. Okay, so I just put gas in there and I have not tried to start it yet. I also tightened up on the belt. I'm not going to be using any kind of lubricant because there's no need. The log is fairly dry. There's not a lot of sap or anything in it, so it's not going to do all that much stick in this log. Even if it, I mean, I don't even know if it's dried out so bad I can't use it. I think I can though. So I want to try and start this for the first time, and I haven't run it for about a month. A month ago I started, I ran it, I left it run out of gas, and then I stopped. And I didn't put gas in it, so let's see how it works here. Now I have gas in it, the valve on the tank's open, I'm going to choke it. That was completely run out of gas. There was no, it just ran completely out of gas before. So it didn't take that much. The good thing is, even though it sat for a month here, now it wasn't bitter cold this winter, but even though it sat for a month, the battery didn't lose hardly anything. So that's another good thing. So, okay, now, for those of you who haven't watched the channel before, I'm going to go over some of the stuff that I always do. I have this gauge here that Cage Hill Sawyer sent me. It's a very nice gauge. I got a 12-inch log, that's the diameter of the log. That's going to give me an 8.5-inch cant. So I'll be happy with an 8.5-inch cant, so that's what I want to get out of that. Now, when you figure out the 8.5-inch cant, you don't just say, well, I'll come 8.5 inches off the bump and I'll be okay with that. That's not how that works. The way this works is like this. You have to figure roughly where 8.5 inches is. Get a tape measure here. You have to figure where 8.5 inches is. Like, for instance, here, 8.5 inches from wood to wood is right about there. So that's one spot. The other spot you have to look at is down here. 8.5 inches is about right there. So if you measure from there up, you get that 8 inches roughly that you're looking for. That would be normal if this was a perfect circle and everything. Well, because you're not working with perfect stuff, because trees are, you know, natural and they grow whatever the wind blows them or whatever, you have to be able to sort of work with them a little bit. Now there's a little bit of sawdust in the middle of this, so I don't know how good this thing is going to come out. But either way, just for the heck of it, we'll cut it up into 2x4s, or, you know, see how good that looks, just to be able to see what we can end up with. So anyhow, when you're looking at this 8.5 inches, 8.5 is about right there. So if I mark that with my finger, I can say that if I come down 3 inches from the top, okay, I'm going to be at that 8.5 inch mark where the cant is. The problem with that is, again, the tree's not perfect. So the best thing to do is, instead of coming down 3 inches, the best thing to do would be to come down 2 inches. Because if I come down 2 inches, I'm only at 6 inches wide there. I still have some more stuff to get to. I might be able to get a 1x or so out of that. It all depends on how straight the log is, okay? And you can go through some trouble if you want to figure out how straight the log is. There's nothing wrong with that. Or you can do what I'm going to do and just start cutting with my instincts to see what happens. So I'm going to make a cut about 2 inches from the top down. Turn the camera here so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So when I say I'm going to go down 2 inches, I'm talking about up at this end. Okay, that's where I'm going to go down 2 inches. there, I'm sitting, that's the top of the log. So I'm going to go down 2 inches from there. 2 inches is 1 full turn on this saw. So we'll see what we have here. Put on there was a little WD-40. You can use kerosene, you could use diesel fuel. You don't have to put nothing on if you don't want to. But I just put something on to help the rollers, the guide rollers, and also the saw blade. That little bit of WD-40 will take off any rust that's on the the blade. It'll take off any little pieces of stuff that are sticking on there, and it'll help the rollers to roll. So that's the only reason I actually do it. Now I just want to lower these things a little bit here. These are a little too high at the moment. You can see how the log is a little bit different from one end to the other. At that other end there, I went down 2 inches. At this end, it's down 3. So that's actually the maximum for that. So I'll see what I have, how it looks, if it's 8 inches wide all the way up there. What I could have done is raise that end up a little bit. Now there's nothing stopping me from raising that end. I could actually raise that 1 inch and cut a taper off of there and still end up not cutting this anymore in order to get that 8 inches out of there without wasting any wood. So I'm just gonna see what I need to do there. This just happened to come out perfect there. At 2 inches low at that end, I'm right at 8 inches wide. Now it could be 8.5, is what they said I could get on the charts. I'm not going to worry about 1/2 inch because I don't need to for this. But anyway, I'm okay with the width of that, so I'm just going to turn the log now and keep cutting. Just square it up for a chin. there, or what I'm after more than anything else, is to make sure that the side of the log is aligned with the backstops. Okay? Now this one's away a little bit because I have the pant, or the hook is way up front there. I'm just going to pull this over a little bit, but that'll be good. It's straight in line with it. So now I can trim the top saddle. Now you can see here I have a square edge, here I don't, here I do. For 2x4s, this edge that's not perfectly square, this is not too far off. I mean, I could go down there another ½ inch if I want to, and just to show you that you can, let me grab the tape measure. Right at this point, I've got 8 inches from the bottom of this to go down. But I'm not sure if I'm going to have the 8 inches on the other side once I cut that off. So I'm going to leave it like that for the moment, because I've only got 7 inches wide there so far. Let's see. To get 8 inches, I have to come down there about 3/4 of an inch to get 8 inches. So I'm gonna wait until I go around to the bark side of that thing. So right now I still have something to work with. And that's sometimes why I make more cuts than somebody says you should have done this, you should have done that. You can do whatever you want. Nobody's stopping you. I'm just saying this is what's on my mind while I'm working with this stuff. Flat side of the log is laying down, so I can pull it against these metal tabs that are on here. In case you're new to the channel, there's a metal tab there, right on here. Or where am I pointing here? Yeah, right here, right there. There's a metal tab that you pull against to keep the log straight. Okay, so I'm going to pull that against that tab all the way up there. Now this log's got some rickety looking stuff on this side. You can pretty much see it there. So I don't want to take too much off of this because I'll show you that. Even though down here I have 9 inches there, I have 8 inches this way, but it's all the way up here. So I'm not going to get an 8x8 out of this. I'm probably going to get something like a 2x8. Okay, so you understand that the shape of the log has a lot to do with what you're going to get out of it at times. So anyway, I'm going to take a just a small amount from the top there. And you can use your measurements from down here to figure out what you want to do. Like if I measure from the ground up, I can say, okay, I don't want to go, let's see where 8 inches is. I don't want to go more than 30.5 inches down at that end. So I can measure, because everything's level here, I can measure from the concrete up and set my blade there. So I'll do that. Trouble with that, up at that end, I don't know if you can see it from here, but up at this end up here, the log swoops up a little bit. Not much, just a little. So if I go to 30.5 inches, I'm hardly going to be cutting anything off up there. So I need to go down a little bit more than that, all right? So instead of worrying about 8 inches at this end, I'm just going to probably worry about the 6 inches. So I could set the saw, whatever I set the saw at that end is what I'm going to end up with down here now. In other words, if I set it at 6 inches off the cant, or off the bunk, I'll be 6 inches off the bunk down at this end as well. So, because I can't get the 8 inches that I wanted to get, and you know, I might be able to get it in one direction. I don't know, let me try cutting it at 8 inches, see what happens there. I just want to explain what I did here. Up at the other end, if I would have gone down to have an 8-inch wide log, I'd be way too far down here. I'd be down at the 6-inch mark or so. So right now I'm at 8 inches. So let me just show you. So if I turn this log, I have to cut the flitch off that back side yet, but if I turn that log towards me, I can get a 2x8 out of that left side there. Okay, so that 2x8 will give me two 2x4s, and if I want 2x4s, maybe even I might even be able to get two 2x8s out of that. So again, I'm not going to try and scrimp on this. I'm not going to try to go down to an even corner on this yet, because I'm thinking about what I can get from this side of the log along this bottom here. Okay, I'll just show you as I go. So here's what I'm saying. On this side of the log, I already got a square down at the bottom. I'm at 10 inches there. I could probably cut this 10 inches off the bunk. Now, I don't know how it is at the other end, but let's say I did cut it at 10 and it worked. I could literally get one maybe even two 2x10s out of that thing. So let's just see what happens here. Let me check this thing. See, at the other end up there, I don't have 10 inches. I only have 8.5 inches. So I'm going to just go down to 8 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and that'll give me either 2x8s or 2x4s. And you'll see as I go what I'm talking about. These shirts that I have a whole bunch of these in red and blue and green, but they grab a hold of the arm when you're turning it. Alright, so anyway, I went down to 8 1/8, so I can get 2x4s out of this if I want to. Okay, so we have a cant. The cant is 8 1/8 by 8 1/8, or 8 1/4. So the problem is we have a nice square on this side and on the bottom, but we don't have a square on the top here. So now's the time to figure out what kind of wood you want to get out of this. So let me just show you. I'm going to loosen this up and I'm going to roll it back one click here so that you can see the problem that I'm up against. You can see there's a great big 2-inch bulge out of there that I got to contend with. Now, what I can do is I can figure on, I can come down there a little bit and I can probably at the most get a 2x6 out of that one piece, which would be okay. And I could get, let's see, or I could come up from the bottom and get 1, 2, 3 2x8s. That'll give me a bunch of 2x4s as well, 6 2x4s if I cut them down the middle. So I think what I'll do is cut that thing in 2 inches. I'll go down 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, and that'll give me the boards I'm looking for. Okay? Now you want to be certain when you go to make these cuts that you're not going to interfere with something that you need. So I had said that on the top there, on the very top, I can probably get a 2x6 out of this. Okay, a little bark here or a little wane there. It's not bad. I'm not really liking that, but I could get a 2x4 out of it for sure. So I'm just going to go down 2 inches with cuts and see how I end up with what kind of boards, and then I'll cut them up into what I actually want. this wood doesn't look bad. I'm going to put the other boards on there, or one of the other boards, and I'm going to cut 6 2x4s out of that quick. Now when you're doing this and you're moving this around, you want to be careful you don't have too much sawdust on the bump rail. Because if you do, you raise one up or lower one or whatever, and then you're not going to end up with a nice 2x4. Alright, I'm going to cut from the bottom up 4 inches, and then I'm going to put them back on and cut them again, because they should be slightly more. The top one will be slightly more than 4, and that'll give me a chance to get a little bit of that wane off of there that moment. Okay, they're right at 4 inches there. So I have a little bit of wane down at this end, which you can see there, but it's not enough to hurt a 2x4, especially a full-size 2x4. So I'm just going to put them on the pile and I'm going to stack them then. Okay, so I have one more here. Both sides of this log, and I'll show you, have a wane on it. It's not real bad on this side, on the bottom, but right in here, I don't know if you can see it there. You can see where it goes in there where it's white. So I'm just going to cut a 2x4 out of there so I don't have to be worrying about looking for a 2x6 in the middle of what I got going here. I can stack all the 2x4s in one place. So what I'm going to do is probably, I'll cut off the bottom an inch. That should give me a nice square cut, and then I'll cut a 2x4 out of what's left, unless I can get a 2x6 out of it. We'll see. Get a 2x6 out of it. Okay, so out of that log, we have got 7 very nice 2x4s. Okay? And that's what I was looking for, 2x4s. So 7 of them. If it would have been 8.5 by 8.5, I could have probably got 8 of them. but because the log was a little out of round, okay, it was out of round, I ended up with 7. So I'm happy with that. Now with all the talking, it took me a while to get this cut. I don't know how many minutes I have into the video already, but the point is you're looking at, I don't know, if they were planed and everything, you're looking at $3 roughly a piece. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, $18. And really, I could have cut that log up in less than 15 minutes if I wouldn't have done any talking. And there's probably those of you out there who wish I wouldn't, but most of the people want me to, so I do. Alright, so anyway guys, that's that for now. I don't know what time it is for sure, but I want to get cleaned up here because we are supposed to get some bad weather sometime in the next couple days. So I want to get them 2x4s put away as well, and I'm going to use my backhoe that's running to get that taken care of. Alright guys, have a good one. Bye. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Well, if you've watched my videos in the past, you know that I like cleaning up. So I have that stuff put away. I just have the board stacked. I blew the concrete and stuff off. And I'm taking this over to my neighbor. He'll get rid of this. Last night, it was around 22 degrees, 24 degrees, somewhere in there. Today, again, it looks like it's up near 40. The ice puddles are all melted already, and I mean, it's in the afternoon. It's probably around